Good evening. We are live. If you're listening to the replay, go ahead and fast forward about a couple of minutes. We're going to be starting in just a few minutes. I am in the chat room just giving people a chance to go ahead and get set up on technology. You can go ahead and click on the live link. That'll bring you right through with the video and be able to get started with us right away. If you have video and you're a little nervous about what you look like, you can go ahead and still join us via audio by clicking that link and actually shutting off the camera. So it's pretty exciting, all the things you can do with Google Hangouts. Tonight I'm really grateful. We've got a few mentors that are supposed to be joining us with the Mastermind. You can go to our Facebook page and put any goals or challenges that you might have that you want us to mastermind. It's also a wonderful opportunity for free publicity or marketing yourself, so you can share your elevator pitch, who you are, what you're doing, and what you'd like support with. And I'm going to Facebook, and it is facebook.com/Business Acceleration Summit. Facebook.com/Business Acceleration Summit. So I'm going to go ahead and click the live on Facebook. Hopefully my little... So good evening. Joining us, we have our Mentors and Mastermind Monday. And we are bringing together, we're joining you on the Google Hangout, which you can actually be, if you're on the Google Hangout, go ahead and click into the chat room, say hello, say who you are, say where you're from. We'll give you a shout out. This will be played on the replay, and let us know the business you're in. And if you click on the live link, you can actually join us via video and join us live. If you're on Facebook Live, feel free to go ahead and put any goals or challenges that you might be having. Again, the Facebook, or you can post it on Facebook, which is the Business Acceleration Summit, facebook.com/Business Acceleration Summit. So just wanted to, basically when we do the Mastermind Summit, I love to share these 4 essentials that I think are key to accelerating any business. If you have attended one of our big summits here in Florida, 4 times a year, we bring together amazing mentors, individuals that come to share and collaborate. And of those 4 things, the first thing that I think is essential is having your elevator pitch. Being able to clearly articulate what it is that you're doing and what it is that you need next, and having that in a way that's magnetic and inviting, getting people to want to get to know you and be a part of what you're doing. I say, you know, if you're getting in the elevator with hi Mike, getting in the elevator with Oprah, or somebody in your, somebody that you want to meet, what is it that you would say? Those of you that just joined the chat room, hi Devon. I went ahead and clicked add as a presenter. Each of you, I went ahead and clicked hi Joyce, add to be a presenter. But you can click directly on that live link that's in the Google Hangout chat room, and that should allow you to join. I also did post that in the Facebook, so that's facebook.com/Business Acceleration Summit. So you can, and it may take a minute. Usually there's a little pop-up that comes up. You sign in if you have a Gmail account using your username and password, and should be able to come right in. Otherwise, feel free in the chat room to go ahead and let us give you a shout out of what it is, who you are, and what you're doing, and the best way to support you. Yay, we have one of our mentors joining us, Joyce. Welcome, welcome. So tonight, let me finish going through the 4 things, but tonight we're here to serve you. We're here to mastermind. We're here to collaborate, which leads to number 2. Number 2 is collaboration and partnerships. Collaboration and partnerships. And that's going to be one of the key things that we'll discuss tonight. depending on what comes in as far as things that you need support with. But collaboration and partnership. Now, it's so wonderful tonight. We're so lucky. We have two individuals that I think are experts at collaboration and partnership. Joyce White Nelson, who is going to be one of our mentors at our upcoming Business Acceleration Summit, June 22nd and 23rd. And then we also have John Dennison, who is a retired attorney, and he is part of a big vision. He's doing some great work in South Florida of really bringing people together to collaborate and learn how to collaborate in a conscious way. So between the three of us, man, you guys should be really on task. And collaboration, one of the things, if you feel alone right now, if you feel in your business that you're either missing talent, money, maybe ideas, things, if you feel like you're missing something, I think that number two, collaboration and partnership is always the solution. And there is, a lot of people don't know how to do that, and so hopefully tonight we can share some of the strategies and resources to be able to do that. But there are partnerships everywhere. I've seen people literally be bootstrapping their business and use partnerships to go to that next level and to grow and to actually flourish. So partnerships are really amazing. Hi, Joyce. Glad you're here. Hi, Tracy Neal from Atlanta. Welcome, welcome. I'm going to go ahead and invite you to be a presenter, too, if you'd like. So in the chat room or on Facebook, please go ahead and let us know if you're in business. Share with us a little bit about your business. Maybe share your, what it is that you do, how you support others, what it is that you offer others, and please feel free to put your website. This is a great opportunity for you to get some publicity and marketing on who you are and what you're doing. We also have Devon on here, and Devon is one of our master mentors too. Devon is, oh my gosh, brilliant number, big vision. He's somebody that has done land development and business development and buying and selling businesses and raising capital, raising millions of dollars in capital. So Devon Dames is one of our sponsors at our upcoming summit and also one of the mentors. So grateful to have you. That number three is mentors. Mentors. I think that one of the keys to success for me, and some of you guys have heard this, like I didn't get pushed to go to college after I graduated. Both my parents had dropped out of high school, and so got a lot of wonderful education from amazing mentors, very laser-focused training, and I have to say it was individuals that I brought to kind of partner with me that had experience, that had made the mistakes, picked themselves up, and got going again. That really saved me a lot of time, a lot of money. I think everybody needs mentors, coaches. We want to surround ourselves with people that are successful. I have one of the things that I love doing is it's take a millionaire to lunch every month, and finding somebody that's very, very successful. It doesn't have to be a millionaire, but finding somebody that's very, very successful and stretching. I mean, if you've heard some of the stories that I've done. I mean, I actually got lunch with Dr. Gary Knoll one time from asking him if I could treat him to lunch at a big conference. So it's really stretching yourself to, to break bread, spend meal time with somebody that's incredible. And number four is Mastermind, which is what we're doing tonight. Now, this is a little bit really some of the best masterminds are where you get to know people over time. You keep coming back. John's been here a number of times. Joyce has been here a number of times, and it's through that continual knowing you and knowing your project that really has a lot of power. But it's also just showing up and being vulnerable and sharing, this is something I need help with, and just taking in those ideas, taking in that support. And it doesn't have to be a I mean, I want to get to 20 grand a month, or right now I'm only in the state of Florida and I want to figure out how to get in Georgia and North and South Carolina. So goals and challenges are really wonderful to bring to the mastermind. But that brings it back to number one, which is being clear and concise on what it is that you're looking for. And it's okay if you don't know. All of us that are on here can definitely help just by, you sharing a little bit. So with that, looks like we lost John, but we have Joyce. Hi, Tony, welcome. Mike Jones, yes, Mike, welcome, welcome. Mike has an amazing nonprofit in Florida. He's somebody that's been, I think, at every single summit I've done. We love you, Mike, doing some wonderful work with saving some of the local animals here in Florida. So again, feel free to type out in the chat room what it is that you're doing, and how we can support you. So let me go ahead and have Joyce do a quick introduction. Joyce, if you want to do your elevator pitch, and while you're doing that, I'm going to check in on Facebook and just see where we're at. But if you want to go ahead and share your elevator pitch. And we can,
okay. Gotta get that with me also. Okay. Hi, everybody. I'm Joyce White Nelson, and I'm excited about coming down to Florida. So I work with a team of what I've coined the phrase people first professionals. And we really work in 3 areas. Really innovative business strategists. So, for example, if you're not quite sure what it is you want to do or how you want to do it, we love brainstorming. So, and then we also have in our group a lot of national educational leaders. So that helps in a way of building sort of a construct, or people that are familiar with sequence, systems analysis. So helping bring clarity to all the ideas that are going around in your head. And then also my personal passion is being a business relationship expert. I have a lot of background expertise in behavioral sciences and positive behavior management, conflict resolution, negotiation, all those things. So if you happen to be, a person that really believes in collaboration, you believe in the synergy of bringing people together, and maybe yearn for what you hear that term of the creative chaos and what might come out of it, that's what we really love to do, and to help frame that up and come out with actionable things for you to help you move forward in your plan with your ideas. So in that case, if that's what you would like, we'd love to sit down and have a chat. So I'm Joyce White Nelson, and my business name is Joyce Ventures.
And Joyce, one of the things that I want to let people know about you is that you actually have this unique gift to see possibilities that maybe others wouldn't see. And I feel like I have a similar gift, but we do it a little bit differently and some the same. But you are very talented in seeing ways of collaborating and playing that some not be aware that's possible.
So maybe this sums up what you said. I just got this text about 5 minutes before I got on the line. Blah, blah, blah. Also, : if I haven't mentioned it before, I think you're fantastic. You do a really good job of managing conflict, and I think you do an amazing job of sensing the emotional state and stressors of a person you are working with. I noticed it, but I didn't mention it. But the last 2 meetings we had, I was extraordinarily stressed, and despite saying anything aloud, in hindsight, I can see that you really adjusted things to accommodate my frazzled state. You really are skilled and gifted at reading people. Reading people and managing conflict are gifts.
Awesome.
So I wrote her back that, wow, after the day I had today, I was wondering if I was going in circles, so that came at just the right time to hear that, so I thanked her.
Perfect. Perfect. So again, if you, and tonight, I just looked in the forum, I don't see any questions yet. Please, hi Tracy from Atlanta. Please go ahead. Well, if we don't get things, we're going to talk about ways to make collaboration and partnerships. We've talked in the past about elevator pitches and designing those, and we've got some special things to be able to do that. But please, share any goals, any challenges, and let's have this time for a shout out on your business. Now we have Tony Castillo. Do you want to go ahead and share a little bit about your business?
Sure. How do I sound? Okay.
You sound perfect.
Good.
Yay.
Okay. Yeah, I put the headset on because I heard feedback when I first came on. Well, my name is Tony Castillo. We're making personal marketing, connecting businesses. What I do is direct mail marketing, and I work with small businesses that are to really help them define their target market and then create a strategy using direct mail and then also digital marketing to help them increase the sales funnel, increase their sales, or whatever the message is that they want to get out. And there's 4 different marketing types that I work with. It's exposure marketing, target marketing, lead generation, and integrated marketing. So that's what I've been working on right now. As far as I'm still looking to connect with businesses. Things are starting to line up. I've connected with another digital marketer, another agency. So it's kind of funny, the topic of a collaboration tonight. I'm actually working with another agency to work with this, have an opportunity to pitch this local bank. So I'm excited about that, and that's coming in a couple of weeks. And then also, with that, I'm working with a digital marketer. He's designs websites, but besides that, he's really strong on the back end. So I'm working with him also, and this kind of could become a joint venture in to try this out to help this bank. So I'm really excited about that.
That's great. Thank you, Tony. I'm so glad you're here. And what's your website again?
Right now it's mipprinting.com, but the new one, when it starts, there'll be a page. It'll be makeitpersonalmarketing.com, and it'll be just a landing page first, and then hopefully within the next 4 to 6 weeks, the website will be up with all the new things that I'm doing. So awesome. I'm excited about that.
So I've known Tony for a long time. Even though he has new things going on, he has been in this industry for a very long time. Has a lot of services that he didn't mention. So if you're doing anything with marketing, definitely talk with him. And it looks like we're getting some questions in the chat room. That's great. So I didn't even introduce myself. My name is Shannon Gronich, and I have I'm an event consultant and marketing. I've been able to go out and get over $3 million in publicity, teach people how to create those elevator pitches that are magnetic, power bios, also put together your press kit, and develop that story that really captures attention. Also, over a year and a half ago, started the Business Acceleration Summit, which is a very unique event that has partnered and collaborated with a lot of amazing people from across the globe to bring together high-level mentors, provide masterminding, some structured networking, and lots of great activities to really accelerate businesses quickly. Because one of the things I found is I was actually on the phone with a wonderful group today, but people have this belief that it should take a year of being involved, and you have to build relationships and friendships, which I think is true. But I also know that there are people that do webinars, and from the first webinar can pull in 5 or 6 figures based upon the language that they use, the message that they share, what it is that they're offering. And so all of those things have impact on our results. So the event is created to really accelerate businesses and give people those tools and facilitate transactions right there. And it's through collaboration. So one of the first letters, or one of the first things that we have, and I know that we have, looks like John he's having challenges with his camera. Got back on. So I'm hitting each of you as you comment in the chat room to invite you to be a speaker. But Mike here, he says, I want to purchase a church in Atlanta and want to use it as a major community center. Great, Mike. Can you be specific on how we can support you with that? Is there a question directed at that? What is it that you need? Congratulations. That's awesome. He also says, maybe this is a question, sorry about that. Does anyone know how to acquire a proof of funds letter quick? The proof of fund letters, both being in the real estate and in the business, usually you get that from your bank, and they can provide that for you. Joyce is saying if you provide a proof of funds letter You can Google it. There's tons of information. Contact an outstanding broker to help you with that. Joyce, did you want to say anything else about that? Okay.
Just all right. Do you hear that?
No.
No? Okay, I'll try. I would contact, what I read right away was the per state. And yes, the bank could help you if you're getting funding through a bank, or even the broker can help you. And then they're like selling a lot of them online. But before I would take that online, you also, if you're part of Legal Shield or something like that, you could use them. They would provide that for you free, or within the context of your service with them.
Okay, and John, who was an attorney, is actually saying you need to get it from a bank before closing. I hope it's okay. He's not an attorney anymore. He's retired. He's focusing on
okay.
community.
Thank you, John.
Awesome. Okay, any other questions, comments, challenges, goals, challenges? Hey, you guys, being in marketing, anytime you have the opportunity for free publicity and getting your message out there, you want to take advantage of it. So at least put your website or your domain name or something. I've said it a couple of times to, this is a chance to share who you are and what you're doing. We just had Robin Hatfield join us on Facebook Live. Hi, Robin. Robin works with staffing, project staffing. She's been amazing. I know eBay did a big project here in Central Florida, and I think she staffed like 1,300 people. And so she puts talent with projects together and really remarkable at that. So if you're just joining us, oh, Tony says, hi, Robin. If you're just joining us, I did put the live link in the chat room on the Google Hangout, so you can join us via video. John Dennison is saying missionlaunch.com, missionlaunch.com. His personal website is johndennison.com, and also peaceoptions.com. So while we're waiting, let's talk a little bit about partnerships. So again, we're going to, the topic of discussion until we get a goal or a challenge to Mastermind. Again, you can put any goal or any challenge. We're here opening up our hearts, opening up our Rolodexes, opening up this time to really support you. Even if you're a mentor and you have a goal or a challenge, Joyce, John, myself, let's come together to mastermind and strategize on that. If there's something that you're looking for, go ahead and type that in there. So we're going to talk a little bit tonight, while we're waiting for you, about partnerships and collaborations, and I'm just going to share one story that I think is helpful for me. Well, first one tool, and then I'll share a story. One of the things that I did was I actually started putting together a list of what is it that I need in my business and life. It could be accountant, it could be a web designer, it could be babysitter. I mean, I'm looking at a personal thing. Anything in business that you need to accelerate. Also, anything that you feel like you're missing. I find that a lot of businesses get stuck with the common thing is, well, I can't afford this, or I don't know much about it. It's kind of like we don't know what we don't know. I start a list of what is the talent that I need, and I put a blank line next to it to kind of fill in the gaps. And you can probably look this up online. I've seen, other lists of people that talk about team lists, and I've seen people do 40 or 50 people to kind of fill in the blank. But when I first did this, I was able to really identify who were possible partners and where were things that I really needed to kind of fill in the blank. So that's one thing, just to build my business, just to look at building my business as far as partners. And you may say, well, how does that work? If you're not like Tony, let's say Tony is in marketing, and I need something in marketing. Tony and I might do we would sit down, and usually what I do is say, I'd like to explore and get to know a little bit more about your business. See if there's ways that we can collaborate and connect. And I use the word explore because not everybody's a perfect match, and you don't want to necessarily commit. I have this thing of if it's a 99% yes, it's still a no until it's 100% yes. which was, which is a very valuable lesson for me to learn, because I get excited. I'm like, oh yes, let's go. And I realize that it's the journey of getting to the yes that really has the most power, that journey of getting there. So through that conversation, getting to know them, I'll ask questions like, do you see ways that, that we can play together? Maybe we could collaborate on advertising. Maybe we could share lists. And just really get to know what it is that they're doing and share what I'm doing and start talking about ways to play together. Maybe it's, they're doing events, I'm doing events. Maybe, but again, I always, when I meet with people, I ask, what is it that you need? What is it that you're looking for? How can I, how could somebody support you? What's your ideal clients? Those are key questions that I ask to get to know someone. And yes. We got lots of questions here. So that's one of the beginning steps of collaboration. So is sitting down together, really exploring each other's businesses and seeing where there's things that you can kind of come together and play together. Maybe you're spending money somewhere. I mean, I've had people where they're paying for advertising, and we were able to come in and, maybe I advertise for them here and they advertise for me here, and we were kind of expanding our marketing dollars by doing things like that. So I'm going to go back down and Joyce, I'm going to have you add some things here. Okay, Mike, I hear your question. Joyce, do you want to talk a little bit about collaboration for, maybe 3 minutes? And then we'll go into the chat room. Oh, you're muted, Joyce.
Muted. Confused by mutes. Are you talking about collaboration as a general concept or what I wrote about in the chat?
No, we're talking about collaboration or partnerships, and maybe you're talking about that there, but just ways for people that don't know how to do it. Like let's just take it back to basic 101. I'm a solopreneur, or maybe I have one person on my team, and just the very, very 101 basics. What would be a first step to exploring a partnership or a collaboration?
Okay, I have, 3 simple steps. They're initiate, nurture, and sustain. So initiate is whenever you start any kind of relationship. And when you start a relationship, you're not going to start it with I or what you want. You're going to start it with adding value to the other person, exploring them as maybe an expert. So an example would be your lunch, asking someone to lunch. It doesn't need to be a millionaire, but when you're asking them, you want to learn about them. We've all heard that people like to hear their name, so we know that trick, like to try to remember their name and say it. But the other thing is, what do they like to talk about the most? Them. So, do your research a little bit before you meet them. If you have to, be sure that you have LinkedIn on your phone so that you can look up and scroll right to the bottom and find the things out about them that they care about. Like, oh, I see that you're, a contributor to the Boys and Girls Club and you really value that. Tell me about that. You don't have to ask them for what they do or, what about their business. Find about their core values and about them, and that will get them talking. And then that turns into what's called a conversation, not an interview. Now you have a conversation that's people to people. So when you have that, take away an actionable, 1 or 2 actionable items that you're going to follow up with, because you want to then nurture that relationship. So you want to contribute back. So from that conversation, I guarantee if you have a real conversation, you're going to, and you have in your mind, what great things am I going to learn from this? What am I going to hear? The questions are going to come if that's what's in your mind. And then it's going to come back that oh, I know what I can do for them. And it might not come to you right then, but that's how you can follow up. So that's called nurture. So if it doesn't come automatically, you start doing some research. And you find out how you can nurture that relationship and give more to them. You might give them a contact or an idea. You might find an interesting article. Do some work. If you value this, you do work to give back. It's just like dating. It's kind of like dating. They don't have to be huge things, but they're little things that you give back. And then finally you can get to the level of trust where then where you're sustaining that relationship, and then is a time where you might ask back for something, but you don't do that in the beginning. So, and then that's where collaboration, in the middle of that somewhere, the collaboration starts happening, because it starts going back and forth, and it's what I say becomes mutually beneficial and authentic. Like, we don't keep score. That's one thing. Like, it's not, you give me one thing, I'll give you one thing. Like, in a marriage, it wouldn't be like, well, if you're nice to me 5 times, I'll be nice to you 5 times. You know, it just doesn't work that way. It has to be based on value, and that, you know, and it's sort of a sorting process, and it might not all happen at once. There isn't an exact sequence, you know, and the chart doesn't, it's not a lateral move. You know, it isn't like the X's and O's on a football field. It's a relationship has a synergy to it that things can happen much later, right, Shannon? They can happen 2 or 3 years later, a long time. So you just keep those people, keep following up, and keep, you know, how you can add value. There is some formulas that they say, you know, this 80-20 rule of business, you know, if you get, or the jab, 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 right hook book, if anybody knows about that. You know, that when you're adding value to other people, naturally people want to give back to you. But you also can't have in the back of your mind, like, scorekeeping, because that's not collaborating. The other thing of collaborating, you need to really listen to what they're saying, and you need to adjust to what they're saying. And so that's, and asking really good questions, which usually those are questions about them.
That is so powerful, Joyce, that you're actually able to articulate that into 3 steps. Wasn't that awesome?
Nurture and sustain. And
yeah. It's really, you know, it's, for some people it's natural, for some people it's challenging, and that is awesome, awesome, awesome. Hopefully that was helpful. We do have a couple questions in the chat room. It looks like we have Mike Jones, who's trying to raise some money to go on a mission trip. $5,000. Any thoughts? Mike, I know that you actually have access to a training as a CEO Space member that gives you fund-busting language, fund-busting. Are you looking for gifts? Or are you looking for, are you going to be taking out loans and paying them back? Is one of the questions I have. But I know that you have access to some pretty good stuff, and you can respond while I'm going up to the next one. Joyce is currently working to move a deal. Now, Joyce, is this a mastermind thing, or you're letting people know about you, right?
Oh, earlier you said if we had something, before anybody was asking any questions, so we can leave that till later.
Okay. Okay.
It's just something I'm working on now. So.
Okay, perfect. So it's not a Kickstarter thing. I'm trying to find these. It looks like John's jumping right in and helping. So anybody that wants to jump right in, they're talking about, okay, Mike says he's thinking gifts. Okay, so as you know, Mike, and maybe you don't know, but being a part of a lot of capital teams, people raising donations, people getting loans, and being a part of helping raise millions of dollars, that it is definitely easier to raise them when you do some sort of secured note. You know, that it's a lot quicker. But you know, you want to talk to an attorney and get that. But I know people are saying crowdfunding and Kickstarter campaigns, and I think Mike has been doing one of those. Those are definitely a gift. There's a lot of tips and strategies to be able to do that, and it all really comes back to okay, John, hold on just a second. I'm going to read that just a second. It comes back to that language, you know, having that clear language. And if, Mike, you want to put it here, then we can definitely work with you on the language so that it can be compelling for people on what it is that you're doing. Because really, at the end of the day, people, you want them to be inspired and moved. So he says, Shan, let's talk about the process of collaboration and learning to listen before suggesting any joint projects. The process of collaboration and learning to listen before suggesting any joint projects. So I think Joyce talked about that a little bit. If you want to add more.
Let's talk about it.
What's that?
Let's have John talk about it.
He's not able to get in the video. Let me click on the video, John. Yeah,
just
I'd love
audio?
to talk about it.
Does he have some audio?
He has to click on the link. Okay, so John, I just invited you to collaborate again. Anybody have suggestions? So Mike, if you don't mind just giving us a little bit of the pitch of what it is that you're trying to raise the money for, and then we could definitely give you some feedback on that. I know that I've used things like, one time I had an education course that I wanted to go to, and I went to a local business and I said, look, I'm getting ready to go. I really want to learn this skill, and when I come back, I'd be happy to teach your staff some of this. Or, I know Rotary Club donates things for mission work. I know maybe there could be some local charity groups that you could partner with. John, if you want to type more, we can add more. We'd love to hear a little bit about the process of collaboration and listening before suggestions. So making that list of where you can go, and I'm really big on finding the biggest list possible. Hi, Maria. Maria's all the way here from California. So we're masterminding. We are. Oh yes, John. Yay. We're masterminding. We also have some mentors here. If you have a goal or a challenge, please type it in the chat room. You can type it on the Facebook page. You can go to facebook.com/Business Acceleration Summit and share any goals and challenges. Right now we're working with Mike Jones in Florida, and he is asking about raising money. He's looking at raising about $5,000 for a project that he wants to do. And we're also talking about collaboration and partnerships and how to do that. That's kind of our underlying theme tonight. So John, we're waiting for Mike. Let's see if we can hear your audio. Test, 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 test. Please work. We can't hear him yet.
It said he's live. John, do you know about hovering near the top? It doesn't appear. Try if you hover your cursor on Jan's forehead. And then the microphone and things will appear. It goes away. You wouldn't know it was there unless you hover up on top. That's how mine's working.
Yeah, and he's not muted because I can see when everybody's muted. Like I can see Joyce and Tony. So you may need to go into the settings. They're also at the top where Joyce had mentioned to play with that for a minute. So any other questions or comments? And I'm hoping Mike is typing a little bit.
I'll help John. I'll talk a little bit, and John, you can write and say if you think what I'm saying is what you're getting at. So you said to talk about here the process of collaboration and learning to listen before ever suggesting a joint project. Sometimes people get really excited. No, all the time people are very excited and passionate about their idea. And in that passion and excitement, they tend to jump the high jump before they've ever walked the steps, so to speak. Or you might call it, they give the fire hose technique and blast somebody with what they need and what they want. But it doesn't come from a negative place necessarily. It just comes from a place of skipping a few of the steps. So collaboration is a process of building a relationship, finding common core values, asking key questions to find out if that collaboration would be one that is mutually beneficial, because that is what's going to create sustainability. A collaboration is not a one-night stand. Or a one-night stand, a collaboration does not make, as Yoda might say. So, John, is that hitting any of the points? So you need to initiate and start finding out. You can do that through language. You can do it through research. That's what I'm saying. Like when I research a company, corporation, that I might be approaching, I'm looking really deeply into the CEOs, CFOs, COOs, find out the mission statement of the company, research what their value statement is, and research what those people that are involved in the company, what they stand for, what their history is. So and in that, I'm using the word research, but that's really what we're doing when we're even one-on-one. A joint venture isn't usually only between two people, because everybody has a sphere of influence, whether you think you do or not. If you think it's only between two people, so one person might be married and they might have children. Now that's a sphere, and they might have another sphere. Maybe they don't have a business sphere, but they have other circles. So we all have ripples. So there's a lot of things to determine whether that's a mutually beneficial relationship that you want to work into, and then how to approach it. Because any joint venture, any negotiation, any paperwork, any legal work, John, you can point in the legal work. I'm not the legal person, but it's really as good as the parties involved. Because to get in a whole blown-out fight about something, so you really need to, this venture that I'm working on here, it's probably been about 6 months, before I even said go. I attended a lot of meetings, meeting a lot of different people, and I called it I wanted to make sure the arrows are all going in the same direction. You're going to have a lot of people involved, and people are going to have different opinions or thoughts and different levels of acceptance. It's a moving object. It's live. Because it's a process. A collaboration is a process, so it's a living thing. And but you want those things sort of all swimming in one direction, or I do anyway at my age, because I figure, gee, I get to have that now. I don't have a job, so I don't have to do what someone tells me, and I don't want to have to push snowballs uphill, because I have experienced the synergy of people that are truly working together, and I just strive to find that more. So it's sort of a sorting process. Is he here, maybe?
He is here.
Okay, I'm going to mute so we can
hopefully hear. I'm going to read some comments that we have in the chat room on the Google Hangout while he's testing his mic. John says, too many times I hear people trying to pitch their ideas rather than see where there's an opportunity to collaborate. Yes, questioning, connecting. Devon said, love it. Devon also said, partnerships work best when a symbiotic relationship, finding partners that are on the same journey as you are works really well. Absolutely. All right, John, can we hear you? Not yet. Okay, so we have Mike who's written his pitch. Mike is masterminding and looking. Ooh, that looks a lot better on Facebook Live. Bright light, bright light. Mike says, I'm here in the States, we are here in the States, are very lucky to have things we have. If we have the ability to give back to others, shouldn't we do that? All right, I like that. Going. Something along the lines of, I have the opportunity to go on a journey at this date and this time. I'm looking for people that are in the position to give back, that want to give back. It's an orphanage work, and this is what they do. Maybe going into some detail a little bit about what they're giving back to, or what you plan to do when you go there. Maybe it's some medical work, maybe it's educational work, maybe it's I have somebody that went to Africa and did collaboration. She helped tribes come together and stop, it was like a peace mission. So giving them a little more detail, but this is great. I like some of the language so far. Devon says, in any relationship, there's always an exit strategy. Easy to get in, tough to get out. Always have an exit strategy for any partnership that is mutual, the divorce clause. Devon, I have to tell you, and I'm hoping that we have this gentleman join us at some point in the future, who is another retired attorney, Stuart Levine, and he created Agreements for Results, and it is a 9-step process, agreement process to creating sustainable partnerships. And in this process, you ask these questions that are so beautiful and so key. And there's some basics in there, but you know, that you start out with intention and vision. What is the big intention and vision? And then you also talk about what is the intention and vision of the partnership, us coming together. Then you talk about roles and responsibilities. And in there you include the different roles and responsibilities that may just, you know, maybe Joyce and I have a partnership, but maybe there's other people that play into the intention and vision, so you bring them into that part of it. Then you talk about measurements of satisfaction. How do we know we're on track? We also talk about conflict resolution. What happens if there's conflict, and how will we deal with it? So that goes into the somewhat of the exit strategy. Also talking about fears and concerns. How many contracts do we have where we talk about fears and concerns? And I have found that if I don't talk about them, I create them with my head. So that was such a beautiful process to learn how to say, you know, hey, one of my concerns is this. And then what happens with that language is I'm able to bring it into the relationship without giving it much charge, without giving it much energy, but just saying, you know, I'm a little concerned about this, and then we talk about it, and most of the time it just dissipates almost immediately. Then, oh gosh, I can't remember all of them right now. Also talk about the exit strategy. Also talk about what, you know, how do we end this? What are some ideas if it's not working? Conflict resolution is one thing where we talk about what happens if conflict. How do we manage that? Because every single relationship, every single partnership, there's always conflict. As he says, spit happens, just like a baby. He said, I saw this baby in the airport wearing this bib that says spit happens, and he said that in every relationship, spit happens. And so learning how to deal with that. And for me, and he says number one is you talk about it. You get together and you don't focus on the little details of the problem. You focus about, okay, this is happening. How do we get back to that intention and vision? How do we connect with where we want to go? And then I integrated my own thing of bringing in like the work of Byron Katie to look at, you know, is it maybe something that I'm worried about that I don't need to be? Is it some of my inner work, some of my inner triggers? Bringing in a mediator. So all of that is mapped out up front, so that you know how to deal with conflict and you both agree upon the processes going in. Gosh, I can't even remember all of them. I'm embarrassed. We'll have to do, Joyce, maybe you and I and John, we can do another one where we talk a little bit, or have Stuart here talking a little bit about this process, because it is such a powerful way to create agreements and have that dialogue so that you discuss all those things. Because he says it's easy because you feel good in the beginning, but when it's tough, then that's really, you know, as an attorney says, they leave the agreement in the drawer, but this actually becomes a living and breathing document that you work with, and also checking back in. You know, I know with mine, I was like, okay, we're going to check back in 30 days and see how are we going, how are our measurements of satisfaction, where are we at on that process. Anybody else want to add anything? And Joyce, I want to read what you said back here, because you also had a project. We've got quite a few people on Facebook. Joyce says, I'm currently working to move the dial up on a business growth and development in the state of Wisconsin. I'm the executive producer of launchwisconsin.com. We had our inaugural event last year. This year, we're moving forward to increase the diversity, innovation, entrepreneurs, investors. So any support you need with that, Joyce?
Sure. If anybody wants to look up the top 100 corporations in Wisconsin and tell me if they have any direct contact, I'd be glad to know that. if they have any existing relationships to them, such as Eventbrite is one on there. And we have some others already that we're working with, Thrivent we're working with, and other ones. But after that would be, we're looking for funding. But what we're really trying, the other website I put in there is collision.com. So they have about 40,000. They started overseas. So this is a global event. And what's really happening, Wisconsin is dead last in entrepreneurial growth, according to the Kauffman Foundation. So we have a wonderful history of manufacturing. They have not moved ahead of the curve with technology. So an example would be, and you might find this in other ways, other places, and maybe we can bring this into the collaboration topic somehow, but General Electric. General Electric's mission statement, okay, everybody listening, raise your virtual hands. Would you say General Electric is a manufacturing company or a technology company? Ding, 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 I think I heard manufacturing. Okay, their mission statement is to be the best technology company in the universe.
Wow.
Okay, but in Wisconsin, General Electric doesn't talk like that because it's not the culture here. It's not accepted. They talk like that other places, but they don't start their meetings like that here. So this has to do with, you know, leadership and moving groups of corporations and the decision makers in the corporations so that they can, because our culture as a whole hasn't been like that. And what does that do? Why are we dead last? We're not dead last for lack of incubators. We have tons of incubators, business incubators, but we have a lot of people not collaborating. There's the topic. I brought it back. So we have all these, you want to call them vertical silos, whatever word you want to attach to them, but everybody's got one. And there's, you know, 5 or 6 in every town. You know, the chamber is doing them, the tech schools are doing them, private companies are having incubators, but nobody's working together. So it's not working. Change isn't happening. So we need to have some really disruptive conversations where we don't teach people how to do more than start to begin to collaborate and listen to the conversations of each other and then start moving forward. So that's what we're doing. That's what we're doing. So we had 400 people last year. We're looking at 1,000 this year. So having fun so far.
That's great. So if you know any connections, as she said, to Wisconsin, big corporations, that would be great support for Joyce, and awesome. Joyce, you're definitely bringing it back to collaboration. I'm going to share real quick those 9 things again from Stuart Levine's book, if that's okay. And again, this is this is not a template. It's not designed to be a template. It's designed to be a conversation. So as I said, intention and vision, big picture of what you want, the clear and more specific the desired outcomes, the more likely you will succeed as visualized. Roles, the duties and responsibilities and commitments of everyone needed to achieve those desired results. Promises. What do you need from me for this to be successful? What are the promises of action steps, very specific commitments, and so that you can get the desired results? And what actions are missing? You know, where do you need to pull in another team? Time value. This is where what are all the promises and by when? In order for an agreement to be effective, you've got to have time value, and also the exchange. I found when I started doing these agreements that the exchange is many times a lot more than just money. A lot of times people put time value because they are. Oh, I'm muting you. I think you'll. There we go. Sometimes I know I get involved with things because maybe I am able to connect with people, or maybe there is the possibility of education and knowledge that I might be getting. So time value, getting really clear on what those are and what are some of the incentives that might be provided. Measurements of satisfaction, how do we know we're on task, clear, direct, measurable to eliminate conflict. Fears and concerns, This is where it says unspoken difficulties need to be expressed and fears behind them addressed. You want to do this right up front. Renegotiation. Now, as an attorney, John, you might be going, renegotiation. I had a couple of attorneys look at agreements that I was working on with this, and they're like, renegotiation. So it says, no matter how optimistic or clear an agreement is today, it will become necessary to renegotiate promises and conditions of satisfaction as a joint venture project evolves. So part of what he has is his template. It says this is a living and breathing document that is a tool to create the results we want. We both agree that if there's something not working, that we can renegotiate change to support the intention and vision of this agreement. We get together to discuss the change immediately before engaging in destructive behavior or thoughts. Our relationship and dialogue is the most important to keep this agreement working with a shared vision. Isn't that powerful? And then you talk about consequences, knowing the consequences of broken promises. Not only, what will happen, the consequence of the big picture, like what's the consequence if we don't get the project completed, if we don't reach certain things, but also consequences of broken promises or broken agreements. That's been fun in the past. I've had employees say, you know what, I'll donate here. I mean, people get really creative when we start talking about consequences. Conflict resolution, again, he had a 3-step process. He did give the stamp of approval of the 4th step. I added the other thing with Byron Katie. And then the last one is we trust and we want to move forward with this agreement. We agree to agree. So I've had this process take anywhere from an hour and a half to 10 hours to sit down with somebody and work on it. But it's such a powerful tool to really have those conversations. And for me, it also gave clarity, is this a partner that I want to work with, too? When you get down to getting to know them, it was also able, because sometimes these questions, and I've discovered maybe halfway through going, okay, wow, they're going over here and I'm going over here, and even though in the conversation it seemed like we were heading in the same direction, the shared vision, we have different goals and skills to maybe bring to the table. So not always. Usually from doing what John and Joyce say, I can discover this up front, but that process is really powerful. So I vote I have Stuart join us one time. Would you guys like that, to have Stuart join and go through this? So John, can you unmute yourself, and hopefully we can hear you and contribute in the last 4 minutes? Oh, does he have a sign up? No, you're muted, so you have to unmute at the top. No, maybe not. Oh, I wish I could unmute you.
Oh, I got me unmuted. Now I got to get back to you.
Yes! Yes!
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Oh my God! It only took me what, 45 minutes? No, probably more like an hour. I'm on my third device now.
Oh yay!
Yay! Anyway, how are you today? Good to see you. Good to be seen. I like his ideas on the contracts. I will tell you that they probably have a lot more traction with you and people in the lay community than they will in the legal community. I think they'll just tell him to shove it and throw his piece of paper away and rewrite the contract. So, but they're great ideas. They're great ideas, but after having written thousands of contracts, that ain't the way it works.
I've done this 200 times at least with the contracts. I've used it for a $250,000 deal one time, and even 6-figure deals. And what happened is you're right. The attorneys kind of freaked out over it. But Stuart advised me to tell them to do what they need to do, but keep this in the agreement. And I had 2 really amazing, I mean, they kind of was like, this is crazy, but I have 2 contracts that were very large that they embodied that with their own legal stuff, and it worked. It worked wonderfully, but again, you said that in the legal arena, they were like, what? This isn't an agreement. But Stuart said, you need to push them to, this is what's going to make it sustainable. And I have to tell you, one of the contracts that we did this with, I was buying a business, and the day of closing, after we closed, and we had a big legal contract, after we closed, the person that I bought the business from said, well, you know, I said, we need to transfer the website. And she goes, oh, no, 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 we're not transferring the website. You're going to be licensing that from me. And I said, no, you need a license agreement to be able to do something like that. I purchased all parts of the business. And it was so beautiful because of that dialogue and what we created. We were able to go back to the table and come up with agreement and have it completely work. So I know, John, you're probably, yeah, just to let you know that even though that's the legal field, you just got to push them and say, okay, we're going to make this fly. So I muted you just because I was getting some feedback. If you want to say anything else, unmute. I can't hear you. It's silent. Over the head. Okay, so we're at the top of the hour. Oh, there we go.
So when you mute me, then I got to go back in and unmute myself. Oh, there we are.
Yes, because there's a lot of.
Yeah, I don't know why I have to remute it. I would think when you unmute me, I would be able to come back on again. That's all right. No, those provisions sounded great, and I like the intention behind it. To be honest, I haven't tried sticking them in any contracts, but you know, if you want to shoot me a few of those clauses, I'll see what I can. I'll test them out for you and see what happens.
Well, that's the whole point. It's not a clause.
Shannon, you're muted now.
Thank you. So what I was saying is Stuart's process is definitely not a template. He says it's not something that you just add to an agreement. It's the dialogue and a discussion. And usually what I do when I'm doing this is either I have a third party typing and taking notes as we answer each question, or each party answers a question if there's two or more, or if it's or I put it in a Google Doc, and while the person is talking, I will type, or while I'm talking, they will type, and it's really a living, breathing document. So it's not something that you plug into a template. Now that one piece is something that we use, but we both have to agree about it and discuss it. But it doesn't. It works by the conversation. You know, getting back to what both of you guys said of having that dialogue. So I'm definitely going to have him speak. You guys, we'll have to get him on here because he's really, you're going to love him, John and Joyce and everybody that's on here. He changed my life. I actually lost a couple of employees because they thought the process was ludicrous and it took too much time, and he was my backbone of like, nope, you keep going, and it really saved me time, money. I had one employee crying, going, even if you don't hire me, the conversation has changed my life, and so it's definitely something that enhances those relationships and makes them stronger, and discussing things that we don't normally talk about legally. I mean, John, when do you talk about fears and concerns when you're doing a partnership? Joyce, do you talk about fears or concerns usually? And I know we're getting ready to go.
I actually do talk about all those things. I think, John, the way that this works for me, which I didn't have this formula, but what I do is pretty much talk about all of those things. And it's a way for the human factor, not that attorneys aren't human, but you talk in a different language, right? So it's the two people hashing out. It could be 6 people hashing these things out, coming to this common understanding, bringing out all the concerns, and then you can wrap it in the package of the legal things that need to happen. It's not throwing the baby out with the bathwater. It's so that the parties don't need to revert to legalese in order to understand what the heck they're doing. they've already talked it out in their own language and their verbiage, and then we can wrap the contract around it. But what we come back to is not section 11, point C1 in order to figure it out. When we come back to talk, we come back to these basic things and say, well, what did we say before? And then if we have to, the legal is there if you have to have that. But really, it's, my little byline is, if you're in business, you're in the people business. So people have to be able to talk to people, and most people don't converse regularly in conversational tone using legal language.
Yep.
So it's two different things, but they can be combined. You need them both.
Yes. Okay. So
I jump into this conversation
really quick,
because we're all be talking about my business.
Yeah, we're over time. So really quick.
Oh, well then I won't talk. I'll say goodbye and we'll do it next time.
Okay, I definitely want to hear. I just want to honor everybody's time. Or we could do the closing and then add something at the end. So I just wanted to say, Mike, please, I know you wanted to mastermind on some things. That language and that compelling pitch is going to be the difference between getting it and not. So feel free to, you can post it on the Business Acceleration Summit. I'm happy to give you some feedback on that. I imagine some of the other mentors would do that, but put some time and energy on that, because that is what gets people involved and engaged in what you're doing, and getting support with that, and letting us know specifics of where it is, time frame, some of those details, and go back to what you know. Go back to fund busting. You are a paid lifetime member of the organization. You have access to all of that, where people have raised millions of dollars time after time. So use that which you know. With this, we meet in 2 more weeks. If you signed up for tonight's class, you should get an automatic sign up, because I actually just booked 2 at 1 for May. I'm testing out the evening time to see what everybody thinks, so I'd love your feedback on that. If you haven't got your tickets yet for the summit, June 22nd and 23rd, we have 3 master mentors. We have some remarkable people coming. We have a private wine and cheese party VIP that's sponsored by Devon Dames International. We've got some this is going to be by far the best event we have had ever. This is our 6th one. So I invite you to get your tickets. We've got a special rate with the hotel, lots of goodies. And think about this week how you can go out and collaborate. Think about having those conversations. Hopefully you're inspired to get out there and connect with some individuals, and connect with each one of the individuals here. Joyce, John, Tony, we have some individuals in the chat room. Think about how you can go out and grow your business, because truly we are never alone. We are never, ever, ever alone. There are people out there that are, this is how, as Joyce said, I'm looking for these relationships. This is the relationships that I play in, and I know that I feel the same way. It's like we want to be in a tribe. We want to be a part of community, and therefore we create that, and they're everywhere, and you can create that, and you're a part of it right now with being here with us tonight. So with that, I'm going to say goodbye, but John, I'm going to let you share real quick, and we will spend maybe 3 or 4 more minutes if everybody's okay. If you want to say goodbye, you can, but I want to hear what John has to say.
Oh boy, I get to talk. You did a nice job, Shannon.
Oh, thank you.
With regard to the collaboration, I just want to come back to the issue of how we go about coming to an agreement. The conversations that we have with people, we need to explore all these issues. But unfortunately, there's no way that you can explore all the issues with somebody ahead of time. You can sit down and start talking about the terms of the deal, and it's very common that when we would get a deal brought to us where the parties have reached some sort of an understanding, there might even be a letter memorializing that. But most of those have so very little in them that the lawyers are going to cover that there's half of an agreement left to negotiate, as well as some of those items need to be restructured, because a lot of times the parties just don't really understand. Some of them aren't necessarily doable. The idea of coming together ahead of time with agreements and having the collaboration is a great one. But again, you have to be in the business of listening to the other people. You can't just be talking, trying to reach an agreement. And I was trying to get to the point earlier that too many of us are trying to sell the other people on our agreement, on our side of the deal before we've ever sat down to do it. But now you're talking a difference. You're talking collaboration. You're not talking a normal business arrangement. That's a totally different thing. And I think we need to make that distinction here, because when you're doing a vendor, a vendor-customer transaction, that's a little, or a negotiated arm's length transaction between two parties to enter into a business relationship. That is not necessarily a collaboration. A collaboration is more along the line of a joint venture or a partnership where they come together to go about some common objective. At least that's the way I've always used it over the years. And with that, I will leave all of you. I wish I could have participated more, but it was nice to hear all of your thoughts. You're all are really right on. Appreciate you letting me sit in.
I'm so glad you're here for all that you. I said thank you so much, John, for being here, and each time that you've been here. And thank you, Joyce. Thank you, Tony. Everybody that's joining, and we will get the camera thing figured out. I tried to sign a little bit early. I did a clean out, so it took me some time to get. And Devon, we want to hear from you. We need to get your camera up and running. So I'm setting that goal and that intention to have Devon on here. So with that, I'll see you guys in a couple of weeks. I'm going to be doing some other hangouts, so if you haven't joined my list, shannongronich.com, there's some other things I'll be going over, but these are my favorite. Thank you guys so much for being here, and hope to see you soon. Have a great night.